Hey y'all, welcome to an electronics video. So today we will be talking about one of the most important pieces of electronics. Well, manual electronics that is. You might not be able to tell, but that was a bunch of push buttons. Today I'm going to show you exactly how they work. So let's ask ourselves first of all, before we even do any of this, what do we know about push buttons? Well, first of all, we know that a button will typically activate something if pressed down. You probably can't tell, but that's an LED. A button will usually activate something if pushed down, or let electricity run through it. What we also know is that, well, buttons are part of electronics and are very important in electronics. That's all you really know about push buttons unless you have prior experience with electronics. So I'm going to show you, oh my goodness, I'm going to show you exactly how a push button works. First off, you need to understand that a push button is a very simple device. That's why I'm using this as my second video. It has two metal pins, a spring right here, and metal contacts here that are connected. The spring, obviously with a buffer, is connected to these two metal pins. And when you push down on it, it connects the metal pins, completes the circuit, and electricity can flow through. But electricity can't flow through if they're separated. So what a push button does is adds a little plastic to the top of this metal here. And when you push down on this plastic, it pushes the two pieces of metal together and completes the circuit, just like I showed you in that little example. And this is one of those little dudes. So now that we have what we know about push buttons, I'm going to show you guys what you are going to learn in this video. What you are going to learn in this video is how push buttons work, why they are essential to electronics, and how we can use them. Okay? We have two hows and a why. So let's look at the why first, okay? So I hope you don't mind this line down here. This just shows me where the camera can't see the board anymore. Like, you guys can't see anything that I'm writing down here. Just a note. Okay, so there isn't a single one. We kind of had the technology for push buttons for a long time, but push buttons as we know them first appeared in the US and Europe in the late 19th to early 20th century, especially in industrial control panels and early telegraph and telephone systems. And one of the big public uses was in 1891 when an elevator company called Otis Elevator Co. introduced an electric push button control to his elevator, which is why we see our light up buttons whenever we push the button on the elevator, and it'll usually glow. Now, there isn't really one inventor to the push button because they're really a refinement of older switch tech, but we can point out some notable figures and companies that invented them, including... So here I have a list of names. First off, we want to look at Frank Sprague. And obviously he is from Otis Elevator Co. And he, he made the push buttons in elevator control systems. Now, George Westinghouse. George Westinghouse promoted safer electrical controls and switchgear in the late 1880s through the late 1890s. And Slemmings and Hauske in Germany. I hope I'm pronouncing those names right. And they actually made early versions of industrial push buttons in the 1800s. So it's more like a group invention or something that a lot of people made together, and multiple different engineers from around the world saw the need for a compact, easy to use manual switch for similar devices. Now that we have why it was made and how it was made too, okay, we can begin talking about how it is necessary to our everyday life and our electronics building. So, I want you to picture this, okay? You are building a LED circuit, okay? And actually, let's just show you. This is a circuit from one of my other videos that I had just made last week. Now, if I can find my wires, there we go. Wrong color wire. Remember, always use red for positive and blue for negative. So, as we can see, our thing won't turn on unless we power it, so let's give it some power. Oh, wrong thing. We give it some power, and it dims at a reasonable frequency because of our resistor. But I don't want to have to lift up the thing out and put it back in, because, that can damage a few little components. So, and instead of using a potentiometer that could, that's a knob, I want a simple on and off. And it would be a lot easier for us to use a push button. Now, before we can even put a push button into our electrical perspective, we need to understand why there's 4 pins under here instead of just 2. Now, a lot of engineers will weld 2 of these push button legs together, but essentially how it works is there's these 4 legs, okay? And these 2 legs actually connect to each other. The legs furthest apart from each other connect to each other. Right here, these 2 are connected and these 2 are connected. But these 2 are not connected. So then, that's how we have our, because these 2 are actually this and this. So when we take that, and we also have our thing up here, there's obviously our spring down here, but we have our spring here, our buffer here, and we have our actual push button up here. Now, you're probably wondering, why is there this little box around it then? Because people who make them built boxes around them in order to keep yourself from electrocuting yourself, but they let these 4 legs come out from either side in order to make it actually useful. So now that we know that only these 2 ends can connect, now we can begin to build our push button circuit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to connect these 2 legs here to this piece here. So now that we have our push button on there, I'm sorry I had to cut the video. It's just that it was taking me quite a while to get a push button that wasn't all bent on the legs. So we're going to put our positive in there, but obviously since it's not even connected to the battery, it won't make a full circuit and it won't complete. What we're going to want to do is we're going to go over to our wires, and we're going to want to pull out a red one for positive. We're going to pop it to this other side of the push button, and if I am correct, it should not turn on. I am correct. And if I build this right, it should turn on. Can you hear it? Here, I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see it. So yeah, that was the push button. And it was one of the, oh my God, it was the first ever way to manually switch your electronic program. And other than big clanky things like levers, but these were also dangerous because they had this middle point here that could electrocute you from here, and these often operated with AC energy, which, unlike our safer DC energy, which is using a battery, AC energy is a type of energy that can kill you with one wire touching you. You just touch one wire, okay, and you're dead. But with DC, here, and you're gone with AC. But with DC energy, you need a positive and a negative wire to create any sort of electronic volt, which will then, be converted to AC energy because it's pure energy, and so on and so forth. Anyways, though, that was push buttons, and they're pretty hard to get the hang of when you're first doing electronics, so be sure to remember how to use them. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please click that subscribe button. Please like the video. Oh my god, that was terrible. I'm not an artist, I am sorry. Please like the video. Please comment on the video. Tell me what you thought about it. Honestly, I don't really care what you thought about it. Commenting is just so I can get recommended more. And also, be sure to share your video. This video, I mean. Be sure to share the video to your friends so they can watch it and I can get more money. So yeah, thank you for watching. Please subscribe for the love of all things holy. Goodbye and stay safe.